The following program is the work of broadcast students from the British Columbia Institute of Technology. BCIT Magazine features news stories from around the Lower Mainland over the past week. Responsibility for the content of the show rests completely with the students and their instructors.
The race for Jack Layton's old job has kicked off as party president Brian Topp announces his candidacy. And the 9/11 attacks in 2001 changed airport security forever. We'll see how travelers are coping today. Good afternoon and welcome to BCIT Newsbreak. I'm Casey Pitts. After NDP leader Jack Layton's recent death, the first candidate has tossed his hat in the ring to replace him. Reporter Carmen Weld was there when backroom powerhouse Brian Topp spoke in BC about his bid.
Shortly after his announcement for leadership, Brian Topp is letting the West know BC was his first stop.
Nobody is going to be elected as leader of the New Democratic Party of Canada without the very significant support of the members in Britain.
His first show of local support was there, including former Provincial Cabinet Minister Joy MacPhail and MLAs John Horgan, Michelle Mungle and Don Black.
I was so impressed with his ability to cross party lines and work together to try to achieve a coalition that would have seen a more progressive government.
Even said Topp kept a possible Liberal merger on the back burner.
We don't have to become Liberals to win federally. We can still be the NDP.
He wasted no time in announcing the dramatic changes he wants to make to Canadian politics.
I'm in favor of a mixed House system in which we continue to have constituency MPs, as we do now, because Canadians expect to have an MP who represents themselves. And then I'm in favor of taking those Senate spots that we're going to abolish and moving them into the House and having some MPs who are also elected proportionally, so that when you vote, your vote counts.
With his recent passing, Jack Layton was still on the forefront of the NDP mind.
None of us wanted to be in this race. What we all thought we were going to do as part of Jack Layton's team was we were going to work for the next 4 years to make Jack Layton Prime Minister of Canada, and I'm very sad indeed that that's not what we're doing.
A new NDP leader will be elected March 24th, and all signs point to BC members playing a big role in that decision. Carmen Weld in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
Sunday marked the 10-year anniversary of 9/11. The tragedy left in its wake plenty of security changes. To find out how these changes are affecting travelers a decade later, Conor Hammond headed out to YVR.
Sunday morning at YVR. A day after the 10-year anniversary of 9/11, long lines have formed at the check-ins throughout the airport, with eager-to-board voyagers, suitcases in hand. But as these bags fly down the conveyor belt, do these travelers still have security concerns before embarking using this mode of transportation?
The screening right off the bat, I think, like security going through, checking in and stuff like that, I would say it's pretty big because they can find the stuff right there.
We're not all suspects, put it that way. Sometimes you travel through USA, you feel like you're guilty already, you know, and that's where they act. You're guilty until proven innocent.
Check the baggages properly. I think the security is fine now. After 9/11, I think it has improved a lot.
10 years ago, Director of Communications Rebecca Catley saw this security revision as a necessity.
Well, obviously the world changed. That's the bottom line. And the Canadian Air Transport Security Authority, with CATSA, which are the folks who actually screen you, both your bags and your person as you go through the security checkpoints, that was born out of 9/11.
However, it's not just one security company that's running the show at YVR.
It's a multi-layered approach to security, and it's not just what you see, it's what you don't see.
And judging by the comments of travelers, this approach clearly has been efficient and effective. Conor Hammond in Richmond for BCIT Magazine.
A man has been charged with attempted murder for a recent stabbing at a Surrey SkyTrain station. Police say it's an isolated incident, but some transit users say they don't feel safe. Martin MacMahon reports.
A shred of police tape was the only hint left of last week's stabbing at the Scott Road SkyTrain Station. The Surrey RCMP say it's an isolated incident related to a drug deal gone bad.
The Surrey RCMP arrived on scene to find that one male had been stabbed in the neck area and had sustained serious injuries as a result of that stab wound, and a second male was also injured as a result of an altercation.
The incident is giving some transit users second thoughts about using public transportation.
Like for my girlfriend or something, right? Like I worry about her taking it by herself. So yeah, like to a point, I'd rather get a car.
It's not a willingness, it's a need. I have a need to use it. I mean, otherwise it's just too expensive for me to drive into Vancouver every day.
I've been using it to go downtown, but if that's happening, I wouldn't use it. Daytime, sure, nighttime, no.
But that tells me, you should be careful around this area too, when you get off the SkyTrain, always look around, don't be alone, right?
Police say this incident serves as a good reminder to remain aware at all times when using transit.
We live in a world where we need to be aware of our surroundings all the time, and being a victim of crime is a very real possibility no matter where you are.
As for the stabbing incident itself, the police have a suspect in custody while one of the two victims remains in hospital with stab wounds. Martin MacMahon in Surrey for BCIT Magazine.
It captured the attention of Canadians across the country. Little Keenan Hebert kidnapped from his home in Sparwood, BC. To give us a quick recap, we're joined live by our reporter, Julia Montague. Julia, what's the latest?
Thanks very much, Casey. Well, it's certainly been the top story every day over the past week until Keenan Hebert was finally returned on Sunday. Following that, Randall Hopley was arrested on Tuesday. Hopley will be making his first court appearance today in a Cranbrook court, facing charges of kidnapping and child abduction. Now that everyone is accounted for, there are still a lot of questions remaining, namely how the child was returned to the house without anyone noticing. So we'll certainly be keeping you updated as details become available. Casey?
Coming up after the break, superheroes take a plunge for a good cause. An award-winning film delves into some Iranian taboos. And good news for patients in an overcrowded psychiatric facility.
They say if you want a wish to come true, never tell anyone. But there is one wish that can make the difference between life and death. And this wish can only come true if you tell someone. Please, let your family know you want to be an organ donor.
Lionsgate Hospital is undergoing a much-needed facelift thanks to a recent donation. Conor Hammond reports.
Tuesday morning at Lionsgate Hospital marked the unveiling of a new proposed psychiatric center. The crowd that included local politicians as well as hospital staff volunteers were on hand as Dr. Javed Moavejan was honored for his recent $4 million donation towards the Hope Project. This money helps fund the move for the 28 psychiatric patients from their less-than-ideal living situations.
It has never really been designed for mental health, inpatient mental health care. That's why we need this new building, and it's going to offer all those things. Again, private patient rooms, there's going to be better infection control. It's going to result in better care.
These are comments echoed by staff members here at the old location, the Activation Building. According to them, after 82 years, this facility has started to show some cracks. For Monica McAuliffe, who runs psychiatric services at the activation, safety is the primary issue.
The most one that I'm concerned with is the safety, because it's not the proper layout for an inpatient unit. And the other big challenge is we could have up to 5 patients in one bedroom.
But overcrowding is just the tip of the iceberg.
We have had issues with the heat, specifically where in the summer it can be really hot and there's no cooling system, and then in the winter the rooms are either really, really warm or they're not warm enough.
But with the opening of the new building, McAuliffe and her staff hope their concerns are just a thing of the past. Conor Hammond in North Vancouver for BCIT Magazine.
A large group of superheroes took a death-defying plunge in downtown Vancouver this week, all for a good cause. And as I discovered, one woman braved her fear of heights in memory of her own hero. The scene in Vancouver was beautiful for the 6th annual Easter Seals Drop Zone. Participants were challenged to raise money and rappel down a skyscraper. Nirm Blatchford and her daughter Natasha say they're nervous, but they want to help disabled children attend summer camp.
You know what, I'm trying not to think that it's 20 stories. In my mind, we're only a few stories high. You know what, again, the kids face challenges all the time, and so my goal is just to be in their footsteps for a few moments and put myself out there and do something that I probably wouldn't normally try. Yay!
Nirm and Natasha were just 2 of many superheroes that raised money for the Easter Seals charity. In the last 6 years, over $1 million has been raised. BC and Yukon Easter Seals CEO Stephen Miller explains what kind of people rappel down.
Might have a relative with that's a child with a disability or knows of one or something, and they want to do something good for our charity.
Nirm's inspiration was Damien, an Easter Seals camper who wanted to rappel but passed away in February.
Damien would be proud. Sorry. He was a really neat kid. He really wanted to do it, and so I'm very proud that I could do this for Damien today.
Thanks to the courage and generosity of donors, children like Damien can now fulfill their dreams. Casey Pitts in Vancouver for BCIT Magazine. The Sundance Audience Award-winning film Circumstance is picking up some controversy as it heads towards its North American release. Braden Oates reports.
Coquitlam actress Nicole Boucheri was in the Sundance Film Festival Audience Award-winning film Circumstance. This controversial movie deals with homosexuality and youth culture in Iran, as another Iranian producer explains.
Homosexuality certainly exists in every culture in every country. However, the Iranian government tries to minimize the presence of homosexuality. Demographically speaking, almost 70 to 75% of the Iranian population is young. It's under the age of 30.
Filmed in Beirut, Lebanon, and spoken in Farsi, Nicole claims the issues aren't the focus of the movie, but only a small portion of it.
The biggest themes in the film are love and family and loss and like finding yourself, you know, which I think is universal. I'm being contacted every single day. I'm getting like 50 Facebook ads a day from not only like Iranians, but just people all around the world who want to connect, like messages from people in Sweden who connect to the film somehow and feel it's almost their story, but also from Iranians, which, you know, this film isn't going to show in Iran, legally at least.
Circumstance will be released in theaters next month. Braden Oates in Coquitlam for BCIT Magazine.
And here's Matt with the weather.
Thanks, Casey. Well, sadly, it's time to pack away the shorts and sunglasses because Vancouver's long Indian summer is finally coming to a close. Over the next few weeks, we will be experiencing cooler fall temperatures hovering around the 15-degree mark as cold fronts from the Pacific Ocean come on in. Well, expect heavier cloud cover and we will return to our notorious Vancouver rain as early as next week. Back to you.
If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please visit us online at bcitbroadcastnews.ca or bcit-broadcast.com. I'm Casey Pitts, and that's today's BCIT Newsbreak. Thanks for watching.